What's up, guys? I'm here with another video today. Day one of the NFL draft is over, and we had a lot of surprising picks, a lot of good picks, a lot of bad picks. Today we're focusing on the good. I'm going to be telling you my favorite picks in terms of value for the first round. I think I have 5 of them, maybe 6 of them in mind, but let's get into it. There are a lot of good picks, a lot of bad picks. Not bad, but surprising picks, and I'll tell the surprising or bad picks in the next round. I don't like to do it because it's super preliminary, but based on value, that's what I'm going to do. Make sure to like and subscribe this video. Like the video, of course, and subscribe down below. Drop down your comments on what your worst picks were and your best picks were, and let's get into it. So, my first pick for the best pick or best value pick in this draft is going to number 11, and that is Chicago drafting Justin Fields. Now, there are 2 reasons why. I know people might say, okay, Chicago gave up a lot. They traded a whole first-round pick to go and draft their quarterback, but Justin Fields is a weapon. He is phenomenal. I think he was the most accurate passer in the draft. I think that analytics prove that as well. I think that along with his accuracy, he was one of the most efficient rushers in the draft. Him and Trey Lance are 2 of the most athletic. Look how he tested 4.44 40. That was probably slower than what he could run. He tested amazingly. His footwork has to improve in terms of pocket presence. He has to realize, as I said in previous videos, that's the one part of his game that he has to improve. I think pocket presence and maybe even short ball accuracy, but I'm going a little too much. But Justin Fields gives you power, he gives you arm strength, and he gives you a better prospect than Mitchell Trubisky when he was drafted number 2. I think that Justin Fields here is a phenomenal pick. Matt Nagy is going to coach him up well. I believe in Matt Nagy. I think he will be not a phenomenal coach, but I think he'd be a good coach. I still do. I don't like Ryan Pace as much, but he made a good trade up because Justin Fields is a game changer, and you trade up in the first round for game changers. So I like this pick a lot. Moving on to my second best pick, or not second best because these aren't in any order, but second value pick in this draft. I think it was a no-brainer value pick here at 18, Miami taking edge rusher Jalen Phillips. Now, Jalen Phillips, he's one of the more interesting prospects, right? He's got concussion history. He had to retire. Well, he was forced to retire at UCLA, I believe it was, before transferring to Miami. Got a 15-sack year, and unlike Gregory Rousseau, his teammate, these sacks aren't just coverage sacks where it's extended plays and all. These sacks are legitimate sacks because he's got an explosive first step. He's an extremely good athlete, and he has definitely a wide arsenal of moves in terms of pass rushing. He is the number 1 pass rushing prospect in this draft, and I think it is by a far margin. I think he was the first edge rusher right off the draft. I thought he could have gone as high as 14 due to his injury concerns with the concussion history, but since the Vikings traded down, I thought the only logical pick would have been 18. If he slipped past 18, it would have been an extreme steal. I don't think he would have gone past 20 to the New York Giants, but I think that Jalen Phillips will be a monster for Miami. I think that Brian Flores, he's a defensive type of coach. Let's see how he does, how he implements Jalen Phillips. I think he could be a day 1 starter for sure. I'm not sure how the offseason will work, though, so we'll see all of that. I'm very excited about this pick. He was I'd probably say top 7 prospect in this class in terms of value because you have all the quarterbacks as well, but he is a phenomenal pick at a very big position of need. Moving on to my third value pick in this draft, coming in at number 22 in this draft, the Tennessee Titans took Caleb Farley, cornerback out of Virginia Tech. Of course, Caleb Farley slipped because of the back concerns. He just had a back surgery in March, so he might not be ready for week 1, and of course, he also tested positive for COVID-19. But hopefully, Caleb Farley is doing good. I think he is the number 1 corner in this class. I am a huge fan of Patrick Surtain. I'll tell you that. I am a huge fan. I love man press corners. I loved Jalen Johnson last year, and I thought he should have been drafted way higher. I love Patrick Surtain. But that can't disprove what Caleb Farley can do because Caleb Farley has that top-end speed. Caleb Farley has the coverage ability in both man and zone, and Caleb Farley, while he isn't the best tackler, I think Surtain's a little better. He has improved in tackling this past season, in 2019. So I think that Caleb Farley is the most complete cornerback prospect in this class. He provides the highest upside. I don't think he provides the highest floor. I think that's Surtain, but I think that he definitely provides the highest upside. Look for him to be the pick, or look for him to be one of the more value picks down the line if he can stay healthy. Of course, I think this is a huge if he can stay healthy. I thought that before the back problems, Caleb Farley could have gone as high as 8 or 9. But now, slipping to 22, Tennessee always takes these kind of prospects, right? Like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, they took Jeffrey Simmons, 21, the defensive lineman, of course, out of Mississippi State. He has proved to be a monster in the NFL, breaking out this last year. I think that Caleb Farley has that same potential. Let's see how Tennessee can use him. I think he's a great addition, opposite of Christian Fulton, because he provides that top-end speed and he provides the coverage ability. So let's see how Tennessee will use him. Moving on to number 4 on my value list, I have picked number 23, Minnesota Vikings, taking Christian Daresaw. Minnesota Vikings are one of the biggest winners in this draft because they were going to take Daresaw at 14. I am fairly confident they would have taken Daresaw at 14 because he fills the left tackle hole. He was probably the best left tackle available because Slater and Vera Tucker probably serve more as guards, although they could shift out to tackle. They trade down. They get 2 extra third-round picks in this class. They get the top of the third round with the New York Jets, and then they get, I think, Seattle's maybe third-round pick at 86. Great trade for them, and they ended up getting the exact player that they want. I think people are even understating this because not only do you get the guy at 23 getting 2 extra third-round picks, he is on a much cheaper salary, and Minnesota, I think, has a couple of salary concerns. They just shedded a couple $1 million on their salary and got the player that they wanted. Christian Daresaw is a great plug-and-play tackle. I think he might have slipped in this draft a bit due to the injury concern that just popped up like a couple days ago or maybe a week ago. But I think that's a minor injury. I think Christian Daresaw was great on tape at Virginia Tech. I think he was definitely one of the standout left tackles in this class. He might not provide the high ceiling due to other people having more athleticism or more God-given traits, but I think that he is one of the higher floor picks, and that's kind of necessary for a team like the Vikings who still want to contend with Kirk Cousins. And lastly, my number 5 value pick in this draft. It's going to be a surprise, I think, to some, but I have it at number 27. Baltimore taking Rashod Bateman, wide receiver out of Minnesota. And the reason is I was really high on Rashod Bateman. I thought he was wide receiver number 4 in this class, above guys like Kadarius Toney, above guys like Rondale Moore, above those kind of guys, because I thought that his wide receiver ability itself was a very, very solid, like his knowledge of the wide receiver position was higher. I know he's not as electrifying, but I thought that Rashod Bateman was one of the smartest wide receivers in this draft who took a hit last year because of the COVID season, but he was phenomenal in 2019. Baltimore needs that kind of wide receiver, and I think he's the perfect complement to the burner in Marquise Brown, or Hollywood Brown that we know. He's a solid wide receiver 1. I think he can be a wide receiver 1 just because he showed that production at Minnesota. He showed he can take on the amount of hits. He showed that he can take on the amount of catches that he got at Minnesota in 2019. I think that he will definitely prove to be a good player for Lamar Jackson, and his route running ability is one of the better ones in this class. I think his route running is very solid. I think his hands are probably the best part of his game. He doesn't possess elite speed, but he possesses average to, solid speed kind of. And I think that his route running ability and the way they can use him in the game will match well with Lamar Jackson. Because when you're coming off that play action pass, you're scrambling with Lamar Jackson. Who's he looking for? The crossing routes. And I think that his first step on one of those routes, Rashod Bateman has proven many times on tape that he really has that burst off that first step. He's not as fast, but he's got that burst and he's got that route running ability to get open. I think Rashod Bateman was a phenomenal pick here at a wide receiver, with wide receiver being a needy pick. I was tweeting during the draft, I didn't think that they would go receiver at 27. I thought that they would go receiver at 31. I thought Jason Owe would be the pick at 27, and they'd try and get the best receiver at 31. But I thought it made sense because I think Green Bay would have probably taken Rashod Bateman at 29 had he been available. And anyway, they ended up getting Jason Owe at 30 or 31 because that was probably the guy who they wanted at 27. They got him at 31 anyway, so solid pick there by the Baltimore Ravens, who now have a solid number 1 receiver to complement their running game, of course. So that is going to do it for me here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, comment down your thoughts on who you thought were the biggest steals, the worst picks in this draft so far. More content coming out soon. Check out my articles on 49ers Web Zone. I'm going to be posting a couple of articles today, draft related, Thank you guys, and tune in for draft day number 2. Peace.